It's a bit chilly, man. So I just want to warm like battle up. Yeah, but if you're feeling hella super nice, can I hear you say issue? If you fine, thanks, and how are you? Can I hear you say issue? Issue. I go by the name of CJ Mnandi. aka Jupiter Jiga man and Donna Pitori. Don't matter, feel like I'm Maragampo Fendi 1. So, you guys were prating about something earlier on, right? You were prating about exposure. There's a very thin line between exposure and exploitation, and it worries me big time. I think everyone that's here now, they're all sussing for that, or they're all looking for that. Everyone that's here now, they're all looking for exposure. But I have a problem with whenever the word exposure is thrown out to artists, whether a photographer or something, they're not like given the proper exposure that they need. For example, you book an artist who's an upcoming artist, but see you performing for this big stage, right? But then they put you on a time slot where there's no one. You understand what I'm trying to say? They'll put you, say, at around 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. or something like that, whereas the people that are on the lineup, they already are exposed. They already have the numbers. They already have the spotlight and everything. How do you go on about distinguishing or differentiating the value with the people that you put on your lineups and where to properly put them on the time slots? That's just my question. I hope it clear what they say. Fine.
Should I take this one? Or? Clearly, exposure is a problem. Where do I start? I think one of the most important things for you to take ownness, right? Because if I come to you, I'm not saying to you, I'm giving you exposure. I'm giving you an opportunity to perform at my event. And unfortunately, this time I don't have X amount. Are you willing to do it? So the understood transaction in that is exposure, right? I don't have to say the word exposure. But then you have liberty to say, okay, cool, I'll do it, Maji, but only if I perform at 9 p.m. So I think what we do is we end the negotiation at the ask. So if you agreed to just take anything that I'm saying, then that's also on you, right? And I want you to also just build it into your, just how you build the model of your work. Always take ownness. Okay, what am I agreeing to, but what does that mean for me, and what do I want out of it? Sometimes exposure could be you're going to be backstage. Even though you performed at 2 p.m., you're going to be around my A-listers, right? So it's not only performing to 10,000 people that is exposure. But also, if you look, you can look at the model of, it's not Palooza, it's Rolling Loud. So what Rolling Loud does, and this is very big overseas, they give up-and-coming artists tickets to sell to perform on their stage. So they'll say, okay, you want to come perform? I'm giving you 1,000 tickets. And only if you reach a certain number of that can you perform at my, and it's an agreement. And this is your percentage of those tickets. So what I'm trying to say is what you're saying is right. However, I want us to move away from the entitlement. The entitlement is the minute you put too much on the person that made. All I'm doing is I'm asking. And I'm not going to ask for you. I'm asking for my business. So you have a responsibility to saying, okay, cool, I'll do it. And if I do it, these are my terms. And if I can't meet them, no, Jaka, let's do it next time when we can both agree on something. And also the performing early thing. If you look at, I want you to go look at a YouTube video of Gigs where he brought out Drake at Wyatt Festival. That was at like 3, 4 p.m., right? Because the sun sets early there. So it was around 3, 4 p.m. And Gigs performed at 3, 4 p.m. So how is it that okay, now you got your time slot. What are you going to do to make sure that you've got your people at a certain time? Again, even if I'm not giving you money, you can say, all right, but I want then 50 tickets then so my people are there to come and see me perform, you know? So there's a lot of ways to skin it. It's not, the problem that we are, or rather that I recognize is that every time we speak on exposure, we're saying it as if it's forced. It's a decision. You can negotiate your terms of the relationship. Sure.
Just to add to, thank you, T. Just to add to what Lerato is saying, I think, how do we define what exposure is? And I think for most of the time, we take it, the word for face value, what that means. Me standing on a stage and being exposed to thousands of people. And I think that's very, very short-sighted. If you go to an event promoter and you offer your services and they say, okay, I'm not going to pay you in cash, I'm going to pay you in kind, which is the exposure. I think the mistake that young people make is not taking what exposure means in its entirety, right? You performing at 1 p.m. to 10 people, it's you honing in on your craft. It's you doing a trial run for yourself with limited risk for when you are going to be performing in front of 10,000 people. It's your trial run for your success. So if you're going to take being given a platform, no matter how big or small, and trying to minimize it to just this transaction, and I don't feel this transaction is fair, you're not going to get very far. And not everybody is given the opportunity and the chance to be put on certain stages. And so when you are given that chance, take it for what it is in its entirety. Learning how to, be managed by a stage manager, making sure you know how to be at a gig on time. If you're a DJ, making all your mistakes of mixing in front of 10 people as opposed to 10,000 people. So don't look at exposure as to, I'm on a stage, how many people are staring at me? Look at it as exposure for my future when it actually really matters. You with me? Cool.
Nakona, are you sleeping there or what? You saw that, right? All right. Questions? All right, okay. I'm sure this one is fishing. This one I'm sure is fishing. This one I'm sure is fishing. Or
Thank you, Carpo. I go by the name Victor Matoto, Osiatu Osia Manang. I'd like to, first and foremost, I'd like to give a big shout out to Brunch Entertainment, Power Play, SA Most Wanted, Future Most Wanted for the platform of it. Yeah, this is huge because we're learning a lot. Ne? My question is that I'm an up-and-coming Xitsonga artist, hip-hop artist, yeah. So, and I'm also a future most wanted artist, Buffett. Can clap on that. Thank you. So, my question is that I mostly do most of the things for myself. Like, I make sure that I do the music, I get myself gigs, I do the cover arts, I do the travelings, I do everything. So I want to know, Gucci, how do I know, Gucci, okay, this guy is the right manager for myself? Or how do I go about approaching managers? Do I just go on your DM and be like, can you be my manager? Or do I wait for you guys to come to me? Yeah, thank you.
Hola, 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 hola. Can you say something in Chishonga?
Shilongo ischangani.
Yo, buzz. I heard that. That was dope. I heard that. That was like some buzz right there. All right. But he's been asking, dog, you guys are a group, ne? Oh, you're not? Oh, my bad. Yeah? Oh, you asking a question? Oh, what did you say? Oh, I got lost in the hip hop thing. Sorry, you asked a question.
I don't know, did the panel hear my question or
No,
should
no,
I
no,
repeat?
Carpo is an idiot. Don't worry about it, man. Yeah, man. How do you put it? How do you pick the right team? How do you know when it's time to go to a manager or not? So the minute you can't do things yourself that you say you're doing yourself, then you know you need help. Let's move away from the manager thing a bit. Just assistance, right? You've got a cousin who's got a car. who's well organized, that can drive you to gigs. You know, you got a friend that has believed in your craft from when you started, you know. So let's forget the titles. You know, you need people around you that can help take your career to the next level. So utilize that, use that, and see if they can be with you. There's a guy called, I believe Dave, if I'm not mistaken. He's also a comedian. He's got a series, you know, called Dave. That's how he also started. He started with, I think he was his friend at the time or his best friend, and then he went on to become his manager. So if you come into me or anybody that's working with an established artist, it's going to be a little more difficult to get representation. The most important thing is to make sure that your system around you is functional and you're surrounded with people that will assist you, of course, for a minimal fee in the beginning because you can't afford, you know, the heavy rates. So I think that's the most important thing, just finding people that can assist you and understanding that you are the most important thing of your team as far as the craft is concerned, how you present yourself, and the mind. Because if any of those people that are assisting you fall off the wagon and they start falling in love with the bottles more, with the girls more, you also need to be willing to let go of that. So you are the strongest. That's why I said Refilwe Polo is part management of Casper and your Vest brand. So you're always the leader. You're actually the head of the management team. So just get people around you that will assist you until a point where Tilly, whoever, Benza, whoever the case might be, might recognize you and want to work with you. At that time, now the terms are, the tables are negotiated according to your terms, right? Because now you've got something, and it's been talked about the whole day, value proposition. So if you come to me, it's not going to make sense at the moment. Except, of course, if your talent is exceptional. And a lot of us believe that we are, but it's not, usually not the case. Yeah.
Nice one. Tibile. Hey, yeah, so 2 more questions and we're out, eh? All right, sure, I'm going to start because I saw he like this time, he picked up his hand and, you know. It's all right, cool. So, what's your name? Introduce yourself and then ask the question.
Sanbonan. I go by the name MTK. So, my question is structured like this. There is the first part and the second part. So what I want to ask first is, I know this is so much fun, the food is nice, you know, we're enjoying, it's all good, but I don't want this to be like a church service where the emotions are high, you know, you feel like you want to get the Holy Spirit, and then after that, then you change. I want us to learn from this. So the reality of things is, you know, we can say a lot of things, but it's very, very hard in this industry, especially when you're an upcoming artist. You know, you look for gigs, you need to have money for an outfit, you need to get a car. You get there, the promoter is nowhere to be found. Sometimes he promised you a writer, he is nowhere to be found. You know, a whole lot of things are happening. How then do you keep on pushing and say, okay, no matter what is happening, I'll still stick to this? You know, we've had a lot of artists, especially in South Africa, we don't need to mention names, but coming and saying, yeah, I've got a lot of songs, you know, but I have nothing. I feel like giving up. I feel like committing suicide, a whole lot of things. How then, as upcoming artists, we say, it's hard, but no, I don't have money, but I'm going to try to push. What can you tell us that can really give us that concrete thing to say we are still going to be in this thing no matter the circumstances?
Thanks, MTK. I just want to preface this by saying, please understand that, and this is the problem that I have with a lot of artists or people within the creative space, it is not only hard for you. There's a teacher who cannot afford to go to work because they don't have transport money, but they have to get to work, right? There's a construction worker who the contract holder cannot afford to pay because the department doesn't pay them on time. But they still need to go continue building that house or fixing that road. So, and that's not to water down your pain as an artist, right? But it's just to say, there's comfort in knowing that you're not alone. And I think a lot of the problem is that artists think because they're in the camera and they're in the, you know, the forefront, they think that they're the only ones that are experiencing those problems, right? So a lot of people that are working experience those problems, especially in the beginning. Now, the next thing is that, how do I phrase this? I want you to understand that even the promoters have their own issues. You know, if you come to my event and I booked you for a show and it rains out, you know, I was expecting 2,000 people, now I've got 200 people. And now you want your rider, now you want, like, you know, sometimes we put so many things, and we spoke about this, you know, you just got to be able to also weigh the situation and see whether it makes sense or not. But the most important thing for me is that you understand that you are not alone, and at least you are fortunate that you're doing what you love. Even if you are not doing, even if you are doing what you hate, right, there would still be problems. But you're experiencing problems within what it is that you love. Now imagine there's people that are doing what they hate, but they're good at. Even they still have problems. Now the immediate reward is that you're doing what you love. Irrespective of what field or what industry you're in, there's going to be these problems. I can't give you an answer to say, you know, this is what you should continue doing or when it reaches the, but as long as you're doing what you're passionate about, you, without the reward, will always want to show up, because doing that in itself is a reward. You know, we've lost a lot of money in this industry. You know, but we continued, not only because we have a different, or rather we have a big goal or big mission or whatever, but because I'd rather wake up doing what I do than going to do something else, you know. But you are right, it does get extremely difficult. Let me not shy away from that. It does get extremely difficult. And again, like I said to the guy sitting in front of you, as long as you surround yourself with the people around you that are supportive, not just because it's fun, even when it's difficult. I've lost money with my business partner in the form of cash. I've lost money with MJ, you know, as recent as last year. I mean, this has been publicized a lot. We spoke about the Durban one. We never dive into, well, at least I don't. Cass I know speaks about and shows you guys the Maybachs or whatever. But this was publicized. We lost 7 million rand in Durban for fill-up. We had to start from scratch. You know, so I want you to understand that when you are asking me for a bottle of Hennessy or a bottle of whatever, I've got such much bigger problems as far as finances are concerned, not to belittle what you want at the time. But I've already paid you, even though it's a negotiated fee, I've paid you. So by virtue, you leave with more money than me. I'm 7 million debt. The cleaning lady, the security guard, the DJ, whoever is walking away with more money than me. You know, so, and that is not to say promoters are better or promoters, it's just to say that sometimes you need to understand that we are actually all going through it. And you evaluate. If you get to my event, and sometimes it might look packed, don't get it twisted, and we still lose money. But if you get there and things are looking smooth and everything is looking great, you see there's play, there's this, there's that. Now you can tell if I'm giving you excuses. And also be able to differentiate between people that abuse your relationship and the people that really need your help. You know? And if it's not an opportunity for you, then that's the last time that you work with them. Because for me, that's what I do. If I don't see value in our relationship, then I stop working with you. I don't go speak bad about you. I definitely won't recommend you. But I just won't continue to working with you. You know? Yeah, that's just, unfortunately, I don't have a brilliant answer. I don't have a very technical answer to what you're asking. It's just the truth of it. And this is what I want out of this, to be a real conversation. Yeah.
Hi, hi. My name is Teko, and I'm Nino's manager. Ne? So I have a question for Tilly specifically. Before I ask my question, I want to say me and my boy go all out. You know, we go the extra mile. But we've picked up in like the game, ne, where there's the concept of paying your school fees, right? But how do you manage the conflict of me being the bad guy and saying, when I can see, in this situation, they're trying to, do my boy bad. How do I put his best interest at heart without jeopardizing future relationships in the game? Because that's the thing. For an example, we did Cotton Fest earlier on in the year, and we had times to practice our sets, right? We get there on time, everybody's there, we have a specific time, but a slightly more famous or more established guy wants to come in before us, right? And I had to go to the stage manager and say, nah, we can't actually allow you guys to do that to us just because we're still coming up. So how do you balance that conflict of saying we have to stand our ground, but at the same time we can't be jeopardizing any future relationship we could have with the guys? Yeah.
Thanks, man. That's an important question because it never stops. At all levels, it happens. I'll tell you, and I think Dale earlier touched on it. Every new step you determine whether you are the A or the B, right? So the first time we performed at One Africa, that was in London, I think. And One Africa was pretty much a West African festival, even though they call it One Africa, right? It's become better. But we were scheduled to perform at a certain time, but when Davido gets there, when Wizkid gets there, when Burner at the time, no, Burner was still not traveling there, but all the other big guys there, even smaller guys than, from an African perspective than us, right? We were pushed. So again, to the conversation about how to assess a situation, how bad do I want this, right? And we must always, especially you as the manager, very, very important. Am I responding? Is my ego responding, or is this a genuine thing, right? Do I genuinely have another show to go to, or do I just not want Foka to perform before me, right? So all that mattered to me, and I'm taking it back to the example of One Africa, it was a long time ago, was I just need this guy to get one picture on stage in London. I didn't care how it happens. I just needed that. We kept on being pushed back, getting pushed back and pushed back until that gap came, and then we performed. You only have 10 minutes to perform at One Africa, by the way. Even Wizkid has 15 minutes to perform. So you take that opportunity and you assess. Again, it's just a matter of constant assessment of, is this because my ego is telling me this is nonsense, or is this genuinely nonsense? And what does it mean? Am I missing another show? Have I already been paid for this show? Have I not been paid for this show? How much trouble did I... My man, you could complain about going to a show down the road. Saying, but you're going back home to watch Emmanuel. I don't know what you're into. So just assess, man. And you see, if you, as the shield for your talent, he can complain to you, shout to you. I'm not saying that Cass at One Africa was cool in the change room saying, it's okay. No, but I'm thinking, Mzansi, No, I spoke to them. Don't worry in your V. Next, Kirun. Next thing, he has a different artist. No. This time, until we get our chance. So you have a huge responsibility of shielding your talent's frustrations against the rest of the world. And sometimes you are right. Sometimes it's actual nonsense that you can't stand for. But again, even at that point, you assess whether you can afford for that opportunity to not happen or not. And it's never going to end. No matter how big you are, I saw it. Sorry to keep on making overseas example. In that same weekend where Cass was invited by French and his team, we went with him to Jabu. What was that? I think it was the NBA All-Star weekend where you met your favorite photographer. I didn't even know who that guy was. It was that same weekend, right? We were backstage, and there were big guys, like international superstars, that they were so frustrated, and these guys are A-listers, because when the next big star comes, they get pushed down, or they get told, no, you're not performing 30 now, you perform in 15. So it never stops. It never, ever stops.
Hola. All right, I think that's it for the questions.
Carpo, I just wanted to add to what Tili was saying to answering the gentleman's answer,
Okay.
in a sense that You know, management plays such a big role in an artist's life. And for most time, especially when you're dealing with organizations, management is the face of the artist. I barely speak to Refilwe. I can count the amount of times I've spoken to him. My point of contact has always been Tili, right? Because he's the face of the brand. So how he manages things is super important, and luckily he's so calm-spirited that he hasn't burnt this bridge yet. And burnt bridges are not going to get you anywhere. So in situations where you just gave your example, manner of approach is super important because everybody else has their own shit going on. So manner of approach is important. If you addressing the situation at the time is of value to you, then do it by all means. But manner of approach is important. Have the decorum, use the right type of words, have the right type of attitude, because you are the face of that particular artist. I'll give you an example. In the space that I'm working in right now, we had a really, really great talent on our team, and the talent, beautiful personality, great person when you speak to this talent, but the manager was the worst person I could have ever worked with. And by virtue of that, irrespective of the artist's talent, I didn't renew the contract, right? And that's because the person that I have to liaise with on a daily basis had the worst attitude, the worst manner of approach, and did not know how to use their words because they had a chip on their shoulder. They were driven by ego, and their ego in that situation got them nowhere. They got an unrenewed contract. So as the face of an artist, always be cognizant of, like what Tili said, is what is your end goal? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And ensure that the actions that you're about to do are not going to put that into disrepute.
All right, oh man. I hope you guys are listening. I hope everybody's listening here. Guys, the questions, because everybody's going to start asking questions and so I'm just going to go upstage. I think we are done. Not done. We're done with the questions. You know, I hear a lot of you guys saying that, why are we not making it big? Why is the music like this? Why they don't want to give us opportunities? I want to tell you a short little story, right? There was a friend, there was. A friend of mine stayed in a back room with his father in a place called Munsiwa. He had a D500, so we didn't leave. I think I lived like 1 minute away. No, 10 seconds away from his house. And every day I walk to his house, wake him up. Sometimes he walks to my house and wakes me up. So one day I walked to his house and he had a Samsung D500. And he's chilling there in the back room and he's just vibing to his song, Alicia Keys, yeah. Only one, cause I want it all. And he's just performing. And I'm like, the weird and that dog, one day, see the song? I'm gonna perform it on stage in a stadium full of people. And I just looked at him, I'm like, okay. That's dope. Because the mic is the D500. You remember the D500, those 90s guys, if you are from the 90s. So this guy, years later, I see him at the Dome, and the stage is going up. I cried. You know, because this guy said to me that one day I'm going to be performing to people, and they will know my name, and I'm going to be performing, and the whole crowd is going to be wild, right? So this guy, everybody used to laugh at him in the hood. He must stand and stay with his father in the back room. Now, he's the closest thing to me that time, because I lost my mother and I lost my father. Right? I'm in the hood. You guys, we're always at the shops, me and him. Is that they go buy a cigarette, get a 1.25 of cold drink, sit there by the shops the whole day with no plan. Go back to my house, sit there, say, what do you want to eat? Only thing we can eat is fat cakes, and we sleep. Sometimes we'll sleep with a 2 liter of water and just drink it so we can get full. Right? One day this guy said to me, you know what, Joe? I told him I want to go back to school. Because we stayed at my house. Went back to school. No, on my way to school, because I wanted to violate, go all the way out my house. He's like, please don't leave me. I'm like, eh? Don't violate, Joe, please, dog. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going. I'll stay with you. And then December's like, yo, I'm going to go to Joburg one more time. And then, okay, I'm going to go to school one more time. And then he met Tili and I saw them in the plane. You know, I was like, yeah, where's this guy going a plane? In fact, you know, I was like, yeah, man, this guy's going to London. you know. And one thing I've really learned from Refilwe is that he believes so much. You know, he believes and he has so much faith. When he says, I'm going to do something, he does it. You understand, we're all from the hood, Utakasi, and everybody's always crying, I'm fit, no man ling. But 10 years later, or 12 years later, this guy's a superstar, he has a car, he drives a Bentley, he drives this, he drives that. Because I've seen a journey of a believer, and someone who prays to God, and someone says, I'm going to do it. Because when the says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And now, I used to be that guy who was always with Refilwe everywhere he goes. And it's like, who is this guy who's always following Casper? They used to call me Casper's ponytail. You know what I mean? But I really didn't care, as long as I was with my friend. But he said to me, open Instagram, let's see what we do. Open my Instagram, staying with Refilwe. Whenever all those songs came out, everything, Refilwe Popile, got a house, and then I started growing with my brand, getting TV shows, getting this. I moved out of Refilwe's house. It was a mission to move out of the house because we were so close that I like, now I need to move out because it's very medem, and then it's very medem. You know what I'm saying? I moved out of Refilwe's house. I got my own place. I got my own car. I got my little dog. So what I'm saying to you guys is that this thing of always crying, yeah, it's okay to cry. It's okay to complain. But if you believe, I'm telling you, and you pray about it, and you ask God, I saw my mother die. I saw my father die. 2007 was my dad. 2008 was my mom. The first person I ran to was Cass. He was staying in a back room with his father. And now the home is in a mansion. And now he lives in Kailami, and he's like 5 minutes away from my place. You get what I'm saying? So, but fair too, I'm beg you guys, like suicide, this thing, if you're feeling like you were suicide, go look for help. I was suicide, I tried cutting myself, I tried hanging myself. It's not nice. Go look for help. Talk to someone, because not much is that we don't talk. Because somebody's going to laugh at me. Somebody, you can't cry in front of Tebo, I can't cry. Then go cry in front of someone that you feel comfortable with. Because I cry with my friend, for real. So guys, please, 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 stop complaining and just do the right thing and move with faith. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. All right, guys, you came in with the questions. You know, we heard you guys. You know, hashtag Future Most Wanted, hashtag Power Play. It's in. Tomorrow is the day. Right, Tilly? Right, Sisebenzile? You know, the thing is, please don't, like, you know, when I have to speak Zulu, yang shaya lento. Yang talele. Jabu, do you have anything to say to our future photographers? You know, some last words before we leave, and then we continue lifestyle.
Yeah, I was sitting having a conversation with them, and I was just telling them that I'm just excited to see what they're gonna do tomorrow. I hope you guys bring out your A game, and yeah, man, there's something special that might come from what we see. So good luck.
All right, Nakana, your final words, my brother.
Yeah, now, man, I just wanted to say thank you for this platform, for this initiative from Play and Bridge. And thank you for everyone who attended. And my last words is just always like apply discipline. Try your best to be consistent. Always be willing to learn, and you know, don't always do things that you're always comfortable with. Like, for instance, I mean, I was telling Tilly, he called me today, and he's like, would you like to come to Spain? I'm like, bruh, I don't really want to do that. Like, I like the work part. I don't like talking, you know, but I just did something that I wouldn't usually do, and I feel actually good, just chilling here, sitting here, talking. And for me, it's just a reflection of just putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, no matter where you are in your success. You know, I could have said no, because I have this, I have that, but it's like, it was a great moment for me, you know, so yeah, that's what I would like for you guys to take away today. Yeah.
And then Nokona, clap hands, clap hands. Clap hands. I'm looking at your shoes. Can you just try to show the people your shoes there? The John Wick shoes. You saw the movie John Wick? Aye, it's on. It's on. All right. Oh, Sister Benzile. Please, your last words, my sister, for the people.
Firstly, guys, thank you so much for availing yourselves on this cold Saturday morning. We really appreciate the fact that, South Africa still has vibrant, bubbling talent that actually want to do something, I hope that you guys take out tangibles from this workshop. I hope you don't leave here and everything flies over your head. I hope you took down the notes. I hope you learned as much as you can and that you took out these tangibles that you will ultimately reinvest into your individual careers. I always say, life is what you make it. Nobody owes you anything. The world is your oyster, and best of luck to every one of you on your careers.
Eliza?
My biggest thing is gratitude. I'm so thankful for everybody that showed up. I don't take that for granted. Like I said, this has been coming for a long time. My team has been fighting me to speak. I've been invited to speak. I've been invited for shoots, but I could never do it because I always felt like it wasn't me, and that's not what I wanted. To Nokana's point, I always tell people, put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and this is one of them for me. And I'm sharing that because I'm so grateful for everybody coming, right? We could have done this and only one person showed up, right? So thank you so much to Sebs, to Power Play for seeing the vision, for aligning to educating and for growing the creative space. This is not only about artists. There's other pillars that we could have put on, but unfortunately, we only decided to focus on music, fashion, film, and photography. So thank you so much to everybody that came through. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the questions, and looking forward to seeing you guys being the A-listers that one day I can't get a hold of. Saying, that man future most wanted, that's when I'm happy to struggle. Those are the cases. A stylist that's here that we can't get a hold of because they booked international or whatever the case might be. A videographer, photographer that will be traveling with, I don't know, with whoever, one of the greatest artists, that could be traveling North America with Uncle Waffles right now, whatever the case might be. When I can't get a hold of you for those reasons, that's when I'm happy to be struggling. So thank you so much. And Carpo speaks about his experiences with Refueler, etc., but I just want to focus it on him because Carpo's journey is not only a Casper journey, it's a Carpo journey. Carpo is the prime example of working for exposure. The number of times, I don't know how much do we owe you, because Carpo has done so much work for us. I consider him my little brother. I adopted him when I got Casper. I had no choice. So, hey, what can we say? But, he has done so much work for us. He keeps on growing within the industry. I'm a phone call away for whatever it is that he needs. And I know that he's there anytime that we need it. We put him in a very uncomfortable position. Carpo is a comedian. But just like I said to you guys, I'm not preaching things that I'm not applying to myself. When I say to you, look at the people that are closest to you and build with them, that's exactly what I do. I absolutely insist that the people that I'm with are the ones that I grow with. Carpo is not an MC for serious things. This is one of his first. He's done some great stuff, but this is one of his first, and I think we can, a round of applause. He did an incredible work for the first time. And again, tying it back to what we've been saying. Had Carpo said to me, but when I do a fill up, this is how much I charge for this is how much I charge. You are not there here. It's a new space. So what are we working with here in the space that you don't know, right? To my brother Jabu, my brothers Jabu and Nokana. Nokana, again, like we said, is in the fashion space. we could have got another stylist or somebody that's in the fashion industry that is much bigger. We do have some access to these people, fortunately, but I insist on the brothers that I'm with to grow with them. Jabu, like I said, together with Pa. Where's Pa? There's Pa there. That's our brother. We found each other through the Casper and Nasty C working collaboration. And from here on, we work together. We absolutely insist that any new level that we create, we grow together. You might not leave our working space. MJ is there. He knows it. That's what we said yesterday to Bwipelo, our graphic designer, who we're always stretching. You might not leave our working relationship or multi-millions, but you'll be an absolute beast when you leave us. Because we absolutely insist that you improve. We'll stretch you to newer heights. So thank you very much for everybody that showed up. I don't know if we should close it off with what we're supposed to, or you want to say something first?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm happy. Glad to meet you guys. I saw you, lady. Tsulofelo, ne? Matsepo. Isaac. Aw. Radebe. Skambandla. I'm just joking. No, I'm cool, man. Thank you. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Just thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, just in closing, guys, I just want to say, I know I've already thanked everyone, but it's very important for me that people take advantage of opportunities. You guys, by showing up, that is that. It's the first step of that. Everything that you might have possibly learned through this, please apply it. Take what it is that you need from it, and let's just make a difference. Hopefully we build a proper network. We're going to have a little time after this, after we say the final thank yous, for you guys to meet each other. So what we're trying to do is, we're hoping that an artist meets a videographer and a stylist to shoot a music video that we will fund, right? So we've got a matrix that we're using for that. So out of this will come an actual product in the form of a music video or an opportunity that will put the three best performing within the fields together to work on something big. Jabu will be leading from a videography perspective. Nokana will be assisting from a film perspective, from a styling perspective. But before we even get to that, there's 6 particular people that took full advantage of this. I'm not saying everybody else didn't, but they took full advantage of it. And we just want to show gratitude and just show that before you even get your check, you could be auditioning for something that you didn't even know that you were auditioning for. So if I could just mention the names. So CJ Mnandi, where is CJ Mnandi? Yeah. CJ Mnandi, and then we've got Finest China. Then we've got MTK. We've got Nino. We've got Tumi. And the last one is Makanj. Oh, okay, cool. So these are the people that took full advantage of this program, right? And we've decided to do a little something special for them, just to show gratitude. So these are pretty much our top performers for class of 2024 Future Most Wanted. But not only are we doing boards for them, by the way, everybody else that's on Future Most Wanted, the lineup, is getting paid and they know it. So this is not an exposure situation. He would have not come. But by virtue of them being booked and not being told to post, they took full advantage and they ran with it. And if you can look at their followers, this is not about who's got the most followers. There's people on the Future Most Wanted program that have 10 times more followers than the people that we've selected. It wasn't about that. It was about taking opportunity and taking advantage. If we could have all of them just come to the front for a quick picture with Brand. Shout out to Power Play for putting this one together. All right, cool. And just one last thing before we close off. So these guys that you see, the 6 here, I've got my brother Obi from Bloom. He's here somewhere. So we've got our SA's Most Wanted Makufe weekend in Bloom. That's going to be in October. These guys are automatically on the lineup. We'll just like to put it out there. And if you, however much that you're charging right now, we will negotiate based on, we will double what you're charging right now, that you charged us right now. But if you happen to have a big, a break like what Waffles did as a sensation, we'll negotiate at the value that you add at that moment as well. We won't say, no, you said 3,000, so don't tell us about 30. It'll depend on how well you do within the next. God is good. We don't know what might happen, right? So thank you so much. These are the top 6 class of 2024 Future Most Wanted. Looking forward to seeing you guys on stage tomorrow, whether it be 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. It doesn't matter. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys. We love you all.